Hey guys, Parfax here, and today I'm asking you guys the question, is New World making their content inaccessible? So what I'm talking about here is obviously if you are one of the top players, you can do anything in the game. I have done many mutations. I have done, pretty much everything in the game. There's a few mutations that I really just didn't care to get to M10 because honestly, I don't want to say I couldn't be bothered, but I got to the point in my New World, I don't want to say career, but my New World time where I was only in it for the Umbral shards. But what I want to talk about a little bit today is something that I was talking with one of my buddies about. We were kind of just talking about everything New World, from PvE to PvP to upcoming content to the Discord. We were talking a little bit about everything. What I wanted to do is see if you guys agree with me in that New World is making their content inaccessible. So we are here at the Garden of Genesis, which is widely considered to be one of the easiest expeditions in the game, if not the easiest. Now, mutated expeditions will give you like the 5-second rundown, are just expeditions that are more powerful than the regular expedition. They put modifiers on them that allow you to get these things that are so incredibly important to upgrading your gear, which is Umbral shards. Umbral shards allow you to take a piece of gear, like let's say this ring right here, my PvP ring, refreshing evasion, invigorated punishment, thrust damage. It allows me to take it from 600 to go ahead and get it to 625. It allows me just to go ahead and upgrade your gear past 600. It is very crucial to your New World experience. Now, is expeditions the only way you can get Umbral shards? No, but it is the absolute best way to get them, and it's best by a very long shot. So let's talk about expeditions and the path that New World is taking. So let's look at Garden Genesis. So we have what they called mutation. You can see here we have Eternal, Savage, Frenzy 2. So we'll go into that a little bit here, but let's look at the groups. So we have 7 expeditions up. We have 1 mutation 2, 2 mutation 3s. We have a 7, an 8, a 9, and a 10. So 10 being the absolute hardest and the one that you will be able to complete and get the most amount of Umbral shards. Now they did update it to where you can get more Umbral shards as you go down the list, but you definitely need to be able to do 10. Now, in my opinion, everybody should at least be able to do a mutation 10 Genesis because, like I said, it is the easiest expedition in the game. But they have done a few things to kind of make it to where new players, or even some players that don't have a ton of hours in the game, just not going to be able to complete the dungeon. So let's go ahead and look at everybody's favorite mechanic in the game. And this is something that I have beat my head against the desk in. I believe, personally, let me know in the comment section down below if you think this provides anything good for the game. I understand that it makes it harder, but you can actually make stuff harder and be fun. I love the newest expedition. I think the new Forge is super fantastic. I love they got a little bit of mechanics in there. I love it's probably my favorite expedition that they have made. And it is not the easiest expedition they have made. So I'm not going at this from the, well, it needs to be easy. But we have Unstable. Upon dodging, players are inflicted by void damage, which should be a void damage over time effect, dealing 1.5% of their max HP worth of damage every second for 10 seconds, stacks up to 3 times. If you've never played New World, you might think, or you've never gone against this mechanic, you might think, that's actually not bad, but it is absolutely horrible. Dodging, first and foremost, is one of the most premier ways to play New World. It is what the game is absolutely built around. It'd be the equivalent of if there was something in there for a tank that says every time you block an attack, take damage over time. That is what it is for DPS and heals. You didn't know there are a bunch of things, like by far the best gem to put in your weapon under almost every circumstance is an opal, which just says whenever your stamina is not full, you deal 15% extra damage. Now, it's 12% because I have a rune glass in there, but don't pay attention to that. But it is an extra 15% increased damage. Now, that's not the end of the world. You can slot a different gem in here and be just fine and not have to worry about it. But the second best gem is a diamond, which we don't have currently on us, but it states that if you're at full health, then you deal the extra 15% damage. Well, guess what? You're dodging, so you don't get that extra damage. So you're basically taking, with that mechanic, most builds, and you're either making it to where they are just dealing 15% less damage, or they're just going to be taking possibility of getting themselves killed. Now, is it the absolute like end all be all? Can you complete the expedition? Yes. I mean, there are people that complete it super fast, but I'm not talking about the elite. I have been in the elite club, especially in ESO. I have a poster that says that I was one of 12 people that got it from winning the raid tournament. I held many records, from world firsts to group world firsts to many things in ESO that I was at one of the best at. And that's not a flex here. That's not talking about that. I'm just saying that even when I was in that situation, you can't bounce the game around the 1%. We can just, again, go look at the mutations here and see there's 7 lobbies up and 6 of them are not M10s. Now, are there more people running M10s that are not doing random groups? Of course, because New World has made it to where if you don't have basically the meta DPS setup, the meta tech, basically a meta group setup, then you can't pug dungeons. And even if you want to run, you know, the meta, let's see what the group is right now. They have just a healer and a DPS. But if I was to go in and try to go in with my bow, even though they quote unquote made it better for bow, which they actually decreased the damage of bow when they said they were increasing the damage of bow, I would not get slotted. And could you say that, well, those guys, you know, are being just elitists? Well, no, because in New World fashion, they have nerfed a bunch of things and buffed a bunch of things that actually just hindered everybody's experiences. What do you mean? So they nerfed our defenses. If we have a Fortify, which I don't actually think I have Fortify on here. Actually, I do have a Shirking Fort somewhere around here. Let me find one. So we have Shirking 4 here. This is after dodging an attack, gain Fortify, increasing armor by 4.7%. This used to be get damage reduction. So this means if you don't understand or you haven't paid attention that much, we have Fortify. We're just going to be taking way more damage, especially in light and medium armor. Medium got a little bit of a buff recently, but light armor, you're taking a ton of extra damage. Now, in mutations, the meta, or basically what you need to do to clear, even just clear the expedition, is a full set of light armor DPS. Even just having one medium armor DPS and an absolute, you know, Mac or BIS setup for a group comp definitely hurts your group, but not the end all be all. So you can have one person, but it's not only being light armor. You need to run something like 100 or less con, because we need that extra damage. Everything is based around damage in New World, but they also lowered our damage in this patch. They made it to where they did a crit change. We're not going to go into it, but they made it so that you deal less critical attacks. Now, again, melee have a little bit of advantage because melee can just back attack. Every melee weapon in the game, in Void Blade on the Void Gauntlet, if you hit an enemy in the back, if the mob actually has a back attack spot, then will actually proc back attacks, which are guaranteed crits. So let's talk a little bit about the meta. So meta right now is essentially greatsword damage, absolutely cracked. So you want 2 great swords, one rapier, just because rapier does a crazy amount of damage. The great swords are going to run great axe on one of them are going to run a great axe, one of them are going to run spear, and the rapier is going to run void gauntlet on their back bar. The tank is going to run a sword and shield, running the leadership passive. I can make a video about how if you are tanking and not running leadership passive, you are absolutely just hindering your group. And we're running, Warhammer for the extra CC on the Warhammer. That's a very meta setup. Now, if you are not running one of those builds, you will almost assuredly not get picked. Garden of Genesis is a little bit different, and you can get some groups if you're running Firestaff, but for the most part, if you are trying to run something outside of there, you can't do it. And I can't blame them, because New World has made it to where you deal less damage, you take more damage, and they just made the expeditions overall pretty rough to complete, unless you are the elite of the elite, and then you can still blow through them in sub 15 minutes, sub 12 minutes. You can beat them in 10 minutes if you are absolutely bissed out. But to be fair, I don't care about those players. Now, we're going to have content in the game that is going to be for those players, but you need to have content in the game where the new players can go ramp up. You might be like Parfax. Well, what about just having them do the lower level mutations? I have recorded this video. I started recording it about 20 minutes ago. Actually, it's actually longer than that. It's about half hour, 40 minutes ago is when I started looking at stuff to record this video. I can tell you right now that these three, and I think this one, have been there the entire time. They are not getting groups because it is almost impossible for people to get groups at this lower level. Let's see. They are looking for a healer, so they are one away, but if it was 1 DPS, you could just have somebody easily do it. And then let's look here at the M3. We're looking for tank. So we have a bunch of people just looking for tanks, one group looking for a healer. It is absolutely horrible for the new player to actually come in and do mutations. Now, that said, they're going to be tweaking that a little bit, but there's just a lot of reasons why New World has really made their game inaccessible for new players, from nerfing resistances, to nerfing damage, to bouncing around the best weapons, and really just kind of catering towards the elite. When it comes to PvE and PvP, New World has found itself in balancing around those versus just making the overall player experience better for everyone. So let me know in the comment section down below. This was just kind of a little rant video and just kind of a discussion. Let me know what you guys think, and hopefully we'll see you in the comments. I'll try to reply to every single one of them. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like, comment, subscribe like always, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.